welcome to another episode of the Uncut with X. So the title of the video is What Did Chebukati Do Right? Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this live video, it's because Chebukati just died today. Yeah, I'm sure most of you already know that by the time you're watching this. So yeah, Chebukati has died today. It's already confirmed, and it's not the first time we have heard about news of Chebukati dying. We have had a lot of false rumors that Chebukati had died because he wasn't the most liked people, at least. Not a lot of people liked him because of the role he played during the 2017 elections. Some people don't like him because of the role he played during the 2022 elections, because he was currently the chair, the IEBC chair for the two elections, the two consecutive elections that we have witnessed in this country. And we're going to talk about that today during this live session. So I'll be waiting for a couple of people to join, then we can quick start. So during the 2017 election, that's why I think Chebukati failed, because I'll start by what I think and where I think Chebukati failed, playing the role of an IEBC chair, because as an IEBC chair during the 2017 election, Chebukati didn't do a really good job because we had a repeat election, which was nullified by the Supreme Court because of the illegalities that were there. So that was nullified by the court because the court thought that the 2017 election was null and void. This is because there was a lot of irregularities in the 2017 election. They were very clear that the election was rigged, unlike the 2022 election. So I'll not talk about much about the 2017 election because we all know it was allegedly rigged. So here we have someone joining in. So the 2017 election was rigged, and I think that was the first time Chebukati was the chair of the IEBC, and it didn't go very well, to the point that Raila Amolo Odinga didn't do to the point that Raila Amolo Odinga didn't repeat the elections after the rigging, because the rigging happened, and Raila told his supporters not to do the repeat elections. So Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the former president, and Ruto won the elections easily because Raila had told his supporters not to do the repeat elections, and that's how we had the president, which followed up by Raila swearing in himself, and later on we had the handshake. But that's a story for another day. Today we are focusing on the man, Chebukati himself, and we're going to talk about his failures and also his wins. Because for me personally, the 2022 elections was done very well. If you look at the 2022 election, yes, as a country, we have come really far, and the 2017 election, 2022 election, sorry, still had some irregularities, but it wasn't like how it usually is. Patricia said hi. So yeah, we are talking about Chebukati and the elections that have been happening, because Chebukati has sadly died today. Or rather, it was confirmed that he has died today, because a lot of people have been doing rumors of that Chebukati had died, but now it's confirmed Chebukati is no more. So before I lose my train of thought, I was talking about the 2022 elections and how I think they were efficient. So the 2022 elections were very efficient as compared to the previous elections we have had. Because let's take a look at the elections we have had as a country. We had the 2007 elections, which didn't really go well. And after the election, the IEBC chair died. And Why I'm talking about this today, it's because people think that the reason why the IEBC Chebukati has died today, what what he did as an IEBC chair. Because take a look at the 2017 IEBC chair. That chair did not die because of the post-election violence, as many people like to speculate. Because a lot of people think that he died because the elections were bad. Yes, the elections were bad, but that was not the sole basis of why he died. He died because he had throat cancer, and that's what made the IEBC chair die. So he didn't die because of what he did, like how many Kenyans would like it to be so. So similar to Chebukati, I don't think he died because of what he did. Yes, Chebukati did a lot of awful things during 2017 because he allowed elections to be rigged. That's why they were nullified in the first place. But come on, if you look at the 2022 elections, if Kenya has had any fair elections, that then it has to be the 2017 election because it was really fair. I mean, the election happened. The Form 34Bs were posted on the IEBC portal. It was there. It was online. Everybody had access to the elections. You could literally form your own polling station and count the elections. So I don't know why people think that Chebukati messed up the 2022 elections. I mean, those were the most fairest elections we ever had. And most of the people who despised Chebukati for doing the 2022 elections are the same individuals who voted for Ruto. And it was quite a critical time in Kenyan politics because our elections are usually very, very, very sensitive. Mostly during the election period, Kenya is usually very, very, very sensitive because anything might make the country collapse. And as the IBC chair, he handled the 2022 elections very well. Of course, there are a few things I can complain about, like the number of days it took for them to count. Because, hey, that election took a lot of days to count. Because many people who talk about the 2002 elections, they credit it for one thing, the fact that the election took a really short time to happen. But if you look at how this 2022 election is, it took almost 2 weeks just to count and confirm and verify the Form 34Bs, a process that can be done in literally a day. Because we need to get to a level where if we are doing elections, and this is what I don't agree with the 2022 elections, it took a lot of time to verify the Form 34Bs, but the election was fair because the forms were uploaded. Because during the 2017 election, one of the biggest issue was the fact that they counted on the Form 34Bs that were uploaded, and people didn't get access to those Form 34Bs, so they could easily get tampered along the way while they were being transferred. But for the 2022 elections, the sorry, I'm reading the comments while doing this live stream. But for the 2022 elections, it was verifiable because those Form 34Bs were uploaded on the portal and everyone got access to it. So even when they were taking it to court, when Raila was taking this elections to court, they verified the same for 34Bs and they were the legitimate ones. They were literally the ones that the agents had signed them. So I don't think the 2022 election was rigged at that level. If there's any rigging that happened, because you can't prove it, and I don't want to speak out of just speculations and not facts. If there's something that you can say that 2022 election, if there's a way you can say that 2022 elections was rigged, rather, is where ODM didn't have a lot of agents in all polling stations, and thus it was hard for them to confirm whether the 34Bs were legitimate or not, because it's usually the agents who sign those Form 34Bs and confirm them. Once they confirm them, then that is a valid Form 34B. So once your agent has signed a Form 34B, there's no way you can't say that this Form 34B is wrong or is rigged, because your agent is supposed to confirm whether the Form 34B is legitimate or not. So for me, I don't think it was rigged at the tallying center like 2017 where it happened. I think if there was any rigging in 2022, then it had to be at polling station level, not at tallying station level. So, as the IEBC chairperson, who was Chebukati at that time, the only thing that he could have done is ensure that it's not rigged at tallying center level. At polling center level, it's up to the agents to take care of the votes, and that's why we have agents allowed and observers allowed in the polling stations, because part of their work is to confirm whether these Form 34Bs are correct or not. So for me, I think rigging never happened at Tallying Center, and that's where the IEBC chairman can handle it at that level, at the Tallying Center level, and that's where we have always had rigging. Even in 2007, rigging was done at tallying center level. So you had votes coming in, which were legitimate votes. Then something happens along the way at tallying center level where the votes gets cooked. But you have to appreciate Chebukati to the level where he made sure that the elections were credible at the tallying center. Meaning, if you make sure that you have agents in place to take care of your polling station, you are sure that this election won't be rigged. Because if you have your agents on ground taking care of all the polling stations that are vital to you, at least, you are sure that these Form 34Bs will get to tallying center level and they will not be tampered by anyone. So that's what Chebukati had accomplished, and that's what he did right. But during 2017, and that one I can say it plainly, during 2017, there was rigging, allegedly. You have to say allegedly to avoid the computer misuse. So during 2017, that's where Chebukati disappointed, because there was rigging and election had to be nullified by the Supreme Court. And it was nullified because there was clear evidence to show that this election was not valid. That's why the election was nullified in the first place, because there was just a clear show that this election was rigged. That's where Chebukati let Kenya down. So that was his first time as chair, but his second time things had changed. There was a lot of improvement on the electoral system. So those of you who don't remember the 2017 election versus the 2022 election, so there was a lot of improvements that were done. The only thing that I can complain about is the fact that tallying took a lot of days. It took a lot of days to just count those votes and confirm whether the Form 34As and Bs, the Form 34Bs that have been received are the same as the Form 34Bs that have been uploaded on the portal. So that took a lot of days. That's where I can complain. But people are people are trying to compare 2022 elections and 2007 elections where rigging was just clear as day. But you have to give credit where it is, and that one I can give to Chebukati. But I also critique him in this sense. I'll say it plainly as it is, that during the 2017 elections, rigging happened. And that's why the court nullified it. And one of the key issues that they wanted during the 2022 elections, and that's how as most Azimio people, I'm not in any party right currently, but most Azimio people at that time claimed that the reason why elections was rigged is because the fact that they refused to open the server. But there was no server to be opened because the elections were uploaded, and I'll say this from an IT perspective. So the elections were uploaded on a portal. So the only way you can say that it was stolen at that level from the server, it's if the elections are being tallied by that server. So the purpose of that server was just to upload the Form 34Bs. And For you to prove that that election was rigged, you have to point out from 34B that um, isn't conversant with the original one. Because if you point out a Form 34B that is already signed by your own agent, the court won't think it's invalid. I don't know if that makes sense. So let me go through the comments. Okay. Okay. Patricia says, bado ni kuibiwa. Which party were you supporting when the elections were happening? So me, I was a UDA person. That is a story for another day why I supported UDA. I was a UDA person, and I thought that Ruto would be the president who would change Kenya, but yeah, that is not happening because we are 3 years in his term, and nothing seems to be happening. It's still the same country that we have, same corruption, same overborrowing. I thought that things would change by Ruto because he had a really good manifesto, at least. But sadly, he didn't do half of the things, even half of the things he had promised. And the reason why I supported Ruto, let me just clear it out. The reason why I supported Ruto, it's because he stood for the bottom-up agenda. Because look at Kenya, most of the highest employer in Kenya, it's the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. Those are the biggest employers in Kenya. It's not the big companies, the Safaricom's and the Equities and the KCBs. Those are not the biggest employer. The biggest employer in Kenya is the SMEs. These small businesses you see in Tao, or everywhere you go, these small businesses are the biggest Kenyan employer. And the hustler narrative was an idea that wanted to support these small businesses by giving them easy access to loans. So that was ideally supposed to be the hustler fund. Money was supposed to be given as loans through SACCOs and chamas to small businesses. Then these small businesses were supposed to either start their business or grow their business and employ more Kenyans. But half of that has never been done. Of course, the Hustler Fund is there, but it's not what they promised. They ended up giving people 500 shillings as Hustler Fund, but that's not what they promised in their manifesto. So I supported Ruto for the sole reason that he had a good manifesto. If Raila had a better manifesto, I could have supported him. That's why you think there was no rigging. I think rigging happened, but I can't really prove it. I'll only speak of it as speculations. I think some rigging happened in 2022 where there were inconsistencies. You take an example of a county like Kiambu. So you have a lot of votes for the president, but less votes for the governor. It's very, very, very suspicious. More votes for the president, less votes for the governor. But that wasn't enough to cancel an election, because there's this thing about election rigging. So in the Supreme Court, if they find that rigging is there, they have to nullify it, but it has to be rigging that changes an election. So, for example, if they find one vote was illegally given to Ruto, they won't nullify that election until they prove that this one vote or two votes that were stolen, they have to overturn an election. So they leave room for irregularities to happen. And I think irregularities happened, but massive rigging didn't happen like the one we had in 2017, in 2007. Those two elections were massively rigged. What do we need to do? At least we choose the right person for the next election. I think track record matters, because unajua we have been voting for people who have a bad track record, and it's the same case. That's why I'm not inspired by the Kalonzo bid or the whoever vies and was in the current regime. It's not even about tribe for me. For me, it's about the fact that you have been there already, you have served under a specific office. Yes, you might come up with a new agenda like what Ruto did, but we must first look at what did you do in your position. Do you have any corruption cases? And what is your history as a politician? So we have to look at history. And my opinion is the only way we are getting out of this is if we elect different people from the ones we've been electing. There's someone who had shared a photo of Raila, there was Kalonzo, there was Mudavadi, there was Ruto, there was Uhuru in that same picture at a point where they were together in one thing. I think it was during the 207. I think 207, not Uhuru, but the rest, Mudavadis, the Kalonzo, the Raila, and Ruto. They were together at one point, and those are the same guys who we always just elect over and over again, and we wonder why things never change because they are the same people. It's about time where we elect just a different person, whatever tribe they come from or whatever place they come from. But the problem is Kenya is still at a point where people vote based on tribe, and it's so hard to get people out of that. Of course, in urban areas like Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakurus, those places, people would vote for a person based on the merit or the manifesto. But now the problem is the rural parts of Kenya. That's where the problem is. And that's where majority of Kenyans live, the rural parts of Kenya. Those parts will vote mostly tribal. And it's a bad thing because you'll get a bunch of people who vote tribal. And at the end of the day, we are not getting anything out of it. Because as currently it's happening, the Kikuyus are not going to vote for Ruto, right? They're saying that they're going to vote against Ruto, not because maybe they think Ruto is bad. It's because Ruto removed Gashagwa. So if you look at Gashagwa, he's not a really good guy. He has had corruption cases before, which were thrown away, but still, he's not the best guy to follow. But they have decided to leave Ruto on the basis that he has abandoned their tribe, in quotes. So our politics is still tribal, and it's one thing that is killing our country. Unless we stop being tribal with voting for leaders, we will still be in the same mess because Ruto will use the tribal card in 2027. He will use the tribal card in 2027 and spark that tribal card again. And I know a lot of people will fall for the tribal card. I can already hear the conversations all over the internet. Most people are talking about uh, how the central region will merge with the Kamba region. So we are not merging on ideologies. In this way, we are not merging on ideologies, saying that we are merging to go to the person who is good, but people are merging with that tribal mentality. How the Luos are saying they are going to vote for Ruto to punish the people who voted for Ruto. So we are merging based on tribe. We are not merging based on merit, saying that we as Kenyans or we as the people of whatever are going to vote for this person on the basis that he's a good person, even if it's Kalonzo or whoever. We are not saying that we are voting for them because they are nice. We are saying we are voting for them because they come from our region or they will favor our region. So our politics is mostly primarily tribal. You yourself, will you vote for Ruto again? I won't vote for Ruto. So I think I'll close this up. I think Chebukati did a great job in 2022. He didn't do a good job in 2017. And I don't think he died because he was a bad IBC chair. I think he died because he was sick. And as people die, because there are a lot of people who have done bad things and they're still alive. So Kenyans are so, yeah, they believe that he has died because he was a bad IBC chair. I don't think he died because of that. Even the 207 IBC chair died because he had throat cancer, not because he did hold a bad election. So I'll close it there. Let me do the last comment, then close it. So I also have a question. It's out of topic. Is someone like Raila allowed to vie for presidency? Is he out of age? So they had increased the age limit to I don't know what. So Raila is young. Raila is about 80 something. So he's still young. He can still vie. In most countries, that is like the average age of presidents. Like look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump just turned 80, if I'm not wrong. He turned 80. So he's Raila's age mate. So that's the age people vote. So if Raila decides to vie, he'll be allowed to vie. There's no limit to what age, unless if you're 90 and you're not in your right mind. But there's no age limit to that. They had initially there was an age limit, but they removed it. So if Raila decides to vie, he can still vie. He's still young, and I think he's still of sound mind. So I'll close it there. Thank you for joining in the live. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it to a friend.